Croftonomics is a new farm advisory service term used to describe innovative, small-scale and cost-effective alternative methods to everyday farming tasks. Aimed at crofters and small farmers, where heavy machinery and expensive tools isn't viable, we explore and explain what types of croftonomics alternatives can be used. I'm going to share with you a simple and cheap design for a homemade feed sheep trough using a couple of items that you might have lying about your croft or farm already. In this example, we've used some empty mineral lick tubs which have been cut in half heightways in order to make a nice deep basin for holding whatever feedstuffs you might be providing your animals, but not so deep as to inhibit access. The second item is some off-cut fencing railings which are already weather treated, which is an advantage, but these have been fixed in a way that accommodates the length and width of the base of these empty mineral lick tubs so that they just slot in snugly and securely like so, and these can either be fixed in using screws or, like us, we just keep them slotted in freely. This has been cut to length in order to accommodate 3 units, but you can make it longer or wider to suit your needs. The good thing about this is that these can be removed in order to clean them, or if they get damaged to be replaced, or alternatively you can fit in full-size mineral lick tubs as well if you want to use it as a water trough if you don't have access to water in your field. The whole purpose of the wooden frame base is in order to stabilise the unit so that the sheep don't kick the buckets over and spill your feed all into the grass. The other advantage to this design is it can be built using whatever materials you have already available on your croft. Something that we don't have a lack of is empty mineral lick tubs, but the wooden frame itself could be built using any materials such as old pallets, other old fencing railings, an old gate, something like that. The whole aim here was to repurpose some waste items on the croft to fit our needs. The idea for building a homemade sheep feed trough came about for 2 main reasons. The first is cost. A store-bought feed trough can cost anything between £50 to £100 per unit, depending on the size, type and materials used. This often includes VAT and delivery on top of that. Where a ewe needs about half a metre's headspace at a feed trough, a ewe hog a bit less, 300mm headspace. Even in our small farm setting, we don't have a lot of sheep, but it would have meant that based on that headspace requirement, we would have had to have forked out hundreds of pounds worth of feed troughs in order to feed our animals. In small scale agriculture, that eats into margins much more quickly than it would do in a large scale agricultural enterprise, which can absorb these costs a little more readily. So this brought us on to our second reason, which was necessity. With necessity breeds a bit of innovation, so we put together something using the waste materials that we already had available to us. This cost-saving exercise could have been the difference between us breaking even or operating at a loss. Whilst the homemade unit doesn't compensate for a store-bought unit, it does provide the breathing space potentially, particularly in the first year of an agricultural enterprise, in order to generate a bit of capital behind you so that you can purchase the real deal in the future. Being able to use what you have to your advantage might just help balance the books a little bit, particularly in the early stages. If you have an alternative method to our croftonomics example, or have a unique croftonomic idea to another task that you would like to share with us, please get in touch with the Farm Advisory Service on 0300 323 0161 or email at advice@fas.scot, where we'll be delighted to hear more. Thanks for watching.